The child's scream cut through the dawn prayer like a blade through silk. Amina froze mid-sajda, her forehead still pressed to the prayer mat. Her husband Bilal's Quran fell from his trembling hands, and their 7-year-old daughter Zainab stood in the doorway of their Lahore apartment, eyes rolled back, speaking in a voice that didn't belong to her, a voice ancient, guttural, and filled with fury. "You think your prayers will save you?" the voice hissed through Zainab's small mouth. "We have been in this bloodline for generations. Your grandmother knew us. Your mother fed us, and now the child is ours. Why would a jinn claim ownership of an innocent Muslim family? What generational sin had opened the door to this torment? And what did the creature reveal during the Ruqyah that would shake not just this family, but everyone who heard their story? This is not folklore. This is not metaphor. This happened in Lahore, Pakistan in 2019, and what unfolded during that 40-day spiritual battle will challenge everything you think you know about faith, family, and the unseen world. The child's words during possession were recorded. The Imam's Ruqyah sessions were witnessed by dozens, and the final revelation about why this family was targeted will leave you breathless. Listen until the very end, because this story contains a warning that might protect your own household from invisible chains you don't even know exist. Before I continue with what happened that morning, please make sure you're subscribed to this channel and leave a comment telling me which country you're watching from. Your engagement helps us share more stories of faith and spiritual truth. Now, let me take you back to where this truly began. To understand what happened to the Siddiqui family, you must first understand who they appeared to be. Bilal Siddiqui was a software engineer, educated at Nust, rational to his core. His wife Amina taught Islamic studies at a girls' school in Model Town. They prayed 5 times daily. They fasted every Ramadan. Their modest apartment in DHA Phase 5 was filled with Quranic verses on the walls, tasbih beads on the coffee table, and the scent of oud burning every evening. Their daughter Zainab was 7 years old, bright, obedient, a Hafiza in training who had already memorized 10 juz of the Quran. Neighbors called her our little angel. Teachers praised her focus. She was the child every Muslim parent dreams of raising. But beneath this picture of piety, something had been growing, something ancient, something patient. It started small, the way these things always do. Zainab began having nightmares 3 months before that terrible morning. She would wake screaming about the tall man in the corner who watched her sleep. Amina, practical and faithful, dismissed it as childhood imagination. They recited Ayat al-Kursi before bed, sprayed Zamzam water in the room, played Surah al-Baqarah on low volume all night. The nightmares continued. Then came the unexplained illnesses. Zainab would spike fevers that vanished as quickly as they appeared. She complained of stomach pains that doctors couldn't diagnose. Her appetite disappeared. She became distant, distracted, as if listening to voices no one else could hear. "It's stress from school," Bilal insisted, his engineer's mind seeking logical explanations. "She's memorizing too much Quran too quickly. Her brain needs rest." But Amina felt something else, something she couldn't name, a coldness in certain corners of their home, a heaviness that settled over them after Aisha prayer. The way Zainab would sometimes stare at empty spaces and smile as if someone was there. "We should do Ruqyah," Amina suggested one night after Zainab had woken screaming for the 5th time that week. Bilal scoffed. "Ruqyah? Amina, we're educated people. Ruqyah is for villagers who believe in fairy tales. Our daughter needs a pediatric neurologist, not an imam waving incense around." "The Prophet himself performed Ruqyah," Amina said quietly. "Are you saying you know better than him?" The argument ended there, but the question hung between them like smoke. Neither of them knew that the entity tormenting their child had been waiting for exactly this, for the parents to doubt, to dismiss, to rationalize away the spiritual warfare happening under their own roof. Because doubt is the jinn's favorite door to walk through. The breakthrough came not from doctors or imams, but from a dying woman's conscience. Bilal's mother, Nasreen Begum, had been bedridden for months with end-stage cancer. The family would visit her in Rawalpindi every weekend, watching her fade like old fabric in the sun. She was 83, a woman from the village who had never lost her connection to the old ways, the ways her educated son dismissed as superstition. On what would turn out to be her final week alive, Nasreen called Amina to her bedside. Not Bilal, not the other daughters-in-law, just Amina. "Close the door," Nasreen whispered, her voice like dry leaves. "What I'm about to tell you my son must never know. But you need to know for Zainab's sake. Amina's blood ran cold. Ami, what are you talking about? Nasreen's eyes filled with tears. When I was a young bride, newly married to Bilal's father, I was desperate for a child. 2 years passed with no pregnancy. The village women whispered. My mother-in-law taunted me. I felt worthless, cursed. She paused, gathering strength. There was a woman in our village, a pious wife, who promised she could help. She performed a ritual, made me drink water that had been prayed over, made me wear a taweez, made me make an offering. What kind of offering? Amina's voice barely rose above a whisper. She said there were old spirits in the land, protectors who could grant wishes if properly honored. She made me promise that if I had a child, I would dedicate that child's firstborn daughter to them as a servant. Not forever, just until she came of age. She said it was harmless, just a spiritual agreement. The room seemed to tilt. You made a deal with Djinn? I didn't know. Nasreen's tears flowed freely now. I thought it was just ritual, just words. And then I got pregnant with Bilal within the month. I forgot about the promise. Life went on. My son grew up, married you, had Zainab, and now they've come to collect. Amina finished, horror dawning. Nasreen gripped her hand with surprising strength. Break it, Betty. Whatever it takes, break that promise. Don't let them take her. I sold my granddaughter for my own desperation, and I will burn in Jahannam for it. But you can still save her. 3 days later, Nasreen Begum died. Her last words were a desperate recitation of Ayat al-Kursi over and over, as if trying to protect Zainab even from the grave. Amina told Bilal everything that night. He didn't want to believe it. But when Zainab woke at 3 a.m. and spoke in that ancient, terrible voice for the first time, saying, "The old woman's debt must be paid," he couldn't deny it anymore. The spiritual war for their daughter had begun. The morning after Nasreen's burial, everything changed. Zainab woke before Fajr, which was unusual. She walked into her parents' bedroom with perfect posture, no grogginess, her eyes fixed and focused in a way that made Amina's skin crawl. The child stood at the foot of their bed, silent, just watching them sleep. Amina woke first. The sight of her daughter standing motionless in the pre-dawn darkness, backlit by the hallway light, made her heart stop. Zainab? Beta? What's wrong? The child's head tilted at an angle too sharp, too mechanical. When she spoke, her voice had a quality that didn't match her 7-year-old body, a depth, a resonance, as if multiple voices were layering over each other. The old woman confessed. Now you know, but knowledge changes nothing. The contract was written in blood and witnessed by my kind. The child belongs to us. Bilal shot up in bed, fully awake now, his rationality crumbling. Who are you? What have you done to my daughter? Zainab's lips curved into a smile no child should be able to make, knowing ancient cruel. I am Karin, bound to this bloodline for 3 generations. Your grandmother fed me. Your mother promised me. And now the girl will serve me until her 21st year, as was agreed. We never agreed to anything. Amina's voice cracked. Your mother-in-law did, and in our world, a mother's word binds her children's children. This is law, older than your prophet, older than your book. Bilal lunged forward, grabbing his daughter by the shoulders. Leave her, in the name of Allah. Leave her. The entity inside Zainab laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Your Allah gave us free will just as he gave you. We choose to stay, and your daughter. The voice softened mockingly. She's so small inside here, so afraid. She calls for you, but you cannot reach her. Then Zainab's body convulsed. Her eyes rolled back until only whites showed. She began speaking in fluent Arabic, classical Arabic, that a 7-year-old from Lahore who only knew basic Quranic recitation should not be able to speak. I have walked with her to school. I have sat beside her during Quran lessons. I have whispered in her dreams. She thinks I am her friend, the tall man who protects her. But protection and possession are 2 sides of the same coin. Amina grabbed her phone, hands shaking, and called the only person she could think of, Qari Ibrahim, the elderly imam from their mosque who still believed in the old knowledge, the spiritual realities that educated Muslims had learned to ignore. Bring her to the mosque immediately, Qari Ibrahim said without hesitation when Amina explained. Do not wait for sunrise. Do not stop to pack. Wrap her in a white sheet. Recite Ayat al-Kursi continuously and bring her now. As they carried Zainab to the car, her body rigid, her voice switching between her own terrified pleas and the Djinn's mocking laughter, neighbors peered from windows. Some whispered prayers. Others pulled their curtains shut, unwilling to witness what they didn't want to believe. The drive to the mosque took 15 minutes, but it felt like hours. Zainab's body would go limp, then suddenly arch backwards in a bridge that should have broken her spine. She spoke in languages they didn't recognize. She recited Quranic verses backwards, a blasphemy that made Bilal physically ill. "Mama," Zainab's real voice would break through in moments. "Mama, I'm so scared. He says he's going to take me to a place where you can't find me. He says there are others like me there, children whose grandmothers made promises." "We won't let him take you, Beta," Amina sobbed, clutching her daughter in the back seat. "I swear by Allah, we won't let him," the entity's laugh returned. "You cannot stop what has already been set in motion. The child was marked before she was born. Every Quran verse she memorized, I was there, learning alongside her. Every prayer she made, I listened. You think your faith is armor? I have walked through your prayers like mist." They arrived at the mosque as the first call to Fajr echoed across Lahore. Qari Ibrahim stood waiting at the entrance, his elderly face grave but unshaken. He had seen this before, he knew what was coming. "Bring her to the women's section," he instructed. "We will begin after Fajr. What you are about to witness will test your faith. The Djinn will speak truths mixed with lies. He will reveal family secrets to shame you. He will threaten you with things that feel real. You must not waver." As they laid Zainab on a prayer mat in the enclosed women's prayer area, the entity spoke one final time before the Ruqyah began. "You think one old man's prayers will break 3 generations of binding. You think your Allah cares about one small girl when he allows so much suffering in the world. Watch, faithful ones. Watch as your faith crumbles when I show you what your precious family has been hiding." Qari Ibrahim began to recite. And the real battle, the battle that would last 40 days and nights, began. The first Ruqyah session lasted 3 hours. 3 hours that would unravel every illusion the Siddiqui family had about their past. Qari Ibrahim sat cross-legged on the floor, his voice steady as he recited Surah Al-Baqarah. In front of him, 8-year-old Zainab convulsed, her small frame jerking against the hands of her parents. Amina whispered prayers as she tried to hold her daughter's wrists. Bilal gripped her ankles to keep her from thrashing. At first, it looked like an epileptic fit. Within minutes, the voice that came out of the child erased that theory forever. "You want to know why I chose this family?" it hissed, the child's mouth twisting into shapes that didn't belong to her. "Because your bloodline already belongs to us. Your great-grandmother was a peer's daughter in Multan. She made the first agreement. She gave us access." Bilal's face went white. "That's a lie. My great-grandmother was a righteous woman." The entity laughed through Zainab's lips, a sound older than her years. "Righteous? She healed the sick, helped barren women conceive, found the lost. Do you think prayer alone does that? No, engineer. She called to us, and we answered." Qari Ibrahim's voice grew louder, forcing the recitation to fill the room. For a moment the air lightened, then the whisper returned, colder, slicker, dripping into the silence between verses. "Every healer in your line worked with us. Your grandmother Nasreen tried to renounce us before death, but confession could not save her. She fed us another generation before she went." Amina's breath caught. "If this is true, why didn't anyone tell us?" "Because you stopped believing," the voice replied almost gently. "Your generation traded faith for education. You learned to laugh at the unseen, but disbelief doesn't close doors. It only blinds you to the chains already there." Then it began reciting facts it should not have known, conversations between Bilal's grandfather and a mistress long dead, the location of Nasreen's buried jewelry in a garden sold 15 years ago, even a detail about Amina's wedding, a taweez sewn into the collar of Bilal's kurta by an aunt for good fortune. Bilal shouted, "Lies! Call her," the voice taunted. "Ask if she denies it." That night he did. His aunt confessed within minutes. It was harmless, just Quranic verses for blessings. When Bilal hung up, his hands trembled. Qari Ibrahim said quietly, "This is how they work. Small compromises that become claims. Your ancestors invited them. The invitations were never revoked." He instructed them to trace every ritual, every peer consultation, every taweez used for luck or fertility. By the end of the week, they had mapped a lineage of superstition, healers who bargained with spirits, grandmothers who tied black threads, fathers who sought prosperity from saints, layer upon layer of half-belief. "We built them a highway," Bilal whispered, staring at the paper web of names and years. During the third Ruqyah session, the entity revealed why it wanted Zainab. "The girl has light," it said softly. "Pure light. She prays because she loves Allah. Do you know what a treasure that is to us? When light falls, it darkens 1,000 others." Amina wept. "You want her because she's good?" "I want her because she would have broken the curse," the voice said. "Her faith would have ended our hold on your line." Silence filled the room, broken only by the rhythmic verses. For the first time, the family understood. This was not random possession. It was strategy, a war for their spiritual lineage. In the weeks that followed, desperation drove them into the world they'd mocked. Bilal, the rational engineer, and Amina, the educated Quran teacher, sat at the feet of scholars who spoke of legal realities in the unseen realm. Qari Ibrahim guided them. "What the Djinn said was partly true," he explained one night. "Your ancestors' acts opened doors. But remember, their contracts mean nothing under Allah's law. They exist only because humans honored them. You can break them, but not with words alone. You must purify the line." "Tell us how," Amina said. "Begin with tawbah, repentance, for yourselves and your forefathers. Destroy every taweez. Abandon every practice that smells of shirk. Turn your homes into fortresses of tawheed." They obeyed. They called elders, unearthed stories. Some relatives scoffed, others confessed strange occurrences they'd hidden for years. Bilal even traveled to Rawalpindi to dig in his late mother's garden. Beneath the soil, he found a small clay pot containing hair, nail clippings, and symbols scrawled on paper. Another blessing. They burned it while reciting verses of protection. But Zainab worsened. The more they cleansed, the fiercer the resistance. During the fifth session, the Djinn's fury erupted. "You fools think there's only one of us?" it roared. "There are 6. 6 bound to this family through 6 promises. You've broken 2. 4 remain." Qari Ibrahim's expression hardened. 6? That means generations of infestation. Amina's voice cracked. "Are you saying our entire family is possessed?" "Not possessed," he said. "Entangled. Some suffer, others feed unconsciously. Until every link is broken, none of you are free." That night, Amina called a family meeting. 30 relatives crammed into their small apartment. She told everything, the sessions, the history, the 6 contracts. The reaction was chaos. Some stormed out calling her delusional. Others, pale and shaken, admitted similar hauntings. Shadow figures at night, whispers during prayer, dreams of ancestral homes. "We're not cursed by chance," Amina said. "We inherited it, but we can end it. Together." 15 stayed. 15 agreed to fight. Over the next week, Qari Ibrahim conducted interviews, piecing together the puzzle. The final map stunned everyone. 1940s, Multan, the great-grandmother's healing practice with Djinn aid. 1975, Karachi, grandmother Nazreen's fertility ritual promising her son's firstborn to those who helped. 1995, Lahore, Bilal's father's business sacrifice offered improperly to a saint. 1960-1990, Hyderabad, Amina's grandmother's annual feeding at a tree believed to host spirits. 1980-2000, Karachi, a cousin's mother channeling ancestral spirits for advice. Ongoing, Sehwan Sharif, family members making vows at a shrine in exchange for miracles. Each act had carved an opening. Together they formed a web centuries deep. "Can this be undone?" Bilal asked. "Yes," Qari Ibrahim replied, "but only with total commitment. 40 days of unified worship. Ruqyah every day, dhikr without pause, tahajjud nightly, no music, no gossip, no shirk of any kind. You will purify your homes, your hearts, your lineage." 40 days, one aunt exclaimed. "We have jobs, children." "Then decide," the imam said quietly. "Convenience or freedom. One you keep, one you lose." Silence settled. Amina looked at her sleeping child and said, "I'll do it, whatever it takes." One by one, others nodded. 8 households, 8 flames of resolve, agreed to fight. They didn't know it yet, but the Ruqyah that had begun as a family's desperate plea was about to become a generational war. A 40-day battle not for one child's life, but for the restoration of an entire bloodline's faith. And in the unseen realm, something stirred, answering their declaration with a whisper, "We will not leave quietly." Day 1 began with Fajr prayer at the mosque, all 15 adults and 8 children standing shoulder to shoulder. After prayer, Qari Ibrahim laid out the structure: daily collective prayers, individual Ruqyah sessions, home purification, constant dhikr, and tahajjud every night between 3 to 4 a.m. It sounds impossible, one mother whispered to Amina. How do we maintain this for 40 days? We don't, Amina replied quietly. We let Allah carry what we can't. The first Ruqyah session was with Zainab. As Qari Ibrahim began reciting, her body convulsed violently. But this time, all 15 adults formed a circle, each reciting Ayat al-Kursi in turn, their voices overlapping. The Djinn screamed, an inhuman sound. You think unity matters? We still have claim. But there was fear in the voice now. Amina recognized it immediately. You're weakening, she said boldly. We can hear it. The entity hissed through Zainab's teeth. 1 day down, 39 to go. You will not last. Humans never last. That afternoon, families began purging their homes. What they found shocked them. 17 taweez in Bilal's mother's belongings, threads tied to bedposts in 7 knots, shrine water kept for 15 years, amulets in cars, item after item of spiritual compromise. But the most disturbing discovery was in Zainab's room, a small wooden box hidden where she couldn't reach, containing her hair, nail clippings, and paper with her name written in what looked like blood. They put it there, Qari Ibrahim said grimly. Physical manifestation. This is a binding object. It must be destroyed immediately. They burned it that evening. As it burned, Zainab cried out from inside. When they ran to her, she was awake, breathing hard. They're so angry. They're screaming at each other. One is saying, the binding won't hold now. Mama, what does that mean? It means we're winning, Beta. By day 7, the pattern was clear. As spiritual discipline increased, oppression intensified before decreasing. Children had identical nightmares. Adults woke in cold sweats at 3 a.m. Fights erupted over trivial things. This is the test, Qari Ibrahim reminded them. They attack your relationships, your patience. Recognize these as attacks. Say A'udhu Billahi and move on. Day 12 brought the revelation that changed everything. During Ruqyah, the Djinn spoke through all 8 children simultaneously, a horrifying chorus of 6 voices from 8 small bodies. You want to know why we chose your family? The synchronized voices said. Your family is the last bloodline in this region with potential for true faith. Most families are already lost, distracted, weakened, focused on everything except Allah. But your family remembers. Your family still teaches Quran. Your family still prays together. The voices laughed. We target the lights, not the darkness. Darkness is already ours. You are dangerous, so we work to extinguish you before you shine. And it's working, another voice added through a different child. Look at you, exhausted, fighting, doubting. How much longer can you maintain this? Qari Ibrahim's voice cut through. In the name of Allah, your mercy is a lie, the chorus screamed. Where was mercy when we were created from fire and judged harsher than you, creatures of clay? You envy us, Amina said suddenly. All of this, you envy that Allah loves us despite our flaws. The silence confirmed it. Then the Djinn began arguing among themselves in a language like crackling fire. Finally, one voice emerged through Zainab. This one wants to leave. Karin says he will break his contract. He says your faith has reminded him of his own. Traitor, another voice screamed. I was created to worship too, Karin replied through Zainab. These humans remember that. We have forgotten. The eldest Djinn asked permission to leave. If you release me with sincere forgiveness, I will testify to my kind that this family is under Allah's protection. Bilal looked at Amina. They didn't need words. We forgive you, Bilal said. In the name of Allah we release you, go in peace. Zainab convulsed once, then went still. When her eyes opened, they were clear, truly clear, for the first time in months. He's gone, Mama. I feel lighter. 1 down, 5 to go. That night, all families had the same nightmare, their children being dragged into dark wells. They gathered for emergency tahajjud at 3 a.m., exhausted and terrified, but refusing to break. 18 more days, Qari Ibrahim said. Hold the line. They held, barely. Day 28 shattered them. Amina collapsed during Fajr prayer. Weeks of minimal sleep and constant warfare had pushed her past human limits. She was hospitalized with severe dehydration and exhaustion. We can't continue without her, an aunt wept. But Bilal, the rational engineer who had doubted everything, stood before them with tears streaming. My wife is in the hospital because she refused to abandon our daughter. If we quit now, we spit on her sacrifice. We continue. That evening's Ruqyah became the most violent yet. All 7 children manifested simultaneously, the 5 remaining Djinn coordinating their attack. They revealed secrets. They spoke prophecies of failure. And most terrifying, they began physically harming the children. Scratch marks appeared on arms. Bruises formed. One child's lips bled as the entity forced him to bite down. "Stop!" an uncle shouted. "You're hurting them." "No." Qari Ibrahim's voice was steel. "This is their final defense. They only harm when they're about to lose." We pushed through. For 4 hours, the families recited in relay. When one voice tired, another continued. Ayat al-Kursi, Surah al-Baqarah, Allah's names like a shield. At midnight, the second Djinn whispered through a 6-year-old, "I too wish to leave. Your faith has awakened something in me I thought was dead. I release my claim." 2 gone. Days 29 through 37 blurred into prayer, tears, and gradual liberation. The third Djinn left on day 31 after Amina, weak from the hospital, personally forgave it. May Allah forgive us both. The fourth left on day 34 during collective tawbah for every generational compromise. But the last 2, Zalim and Sharar, refused. We made vows before Iblis himself. We will never surrender. By day 38, families were destroyed. 3 had lost jobs, 2 marriages barely held. Everyone looked 10 years older. "Maybe we take a break," someone suggested. "Just 1 day." "No breaks," Qari Ibrahim said firmly. "We're too close. They know they're finished." On day 39, during Tahajjud, Zainab, free since day 12, suddenly stood and began reciting Qur'an she had never memorized. Complex passages from Surah al-Mu'minun flowed from her in a voice filled with power. The 2 possessed children screamed, the light burns, make her stop." But Zainab continued, tears streaming, her small voice filling the mosque. When she reached, "So exalted is Allah, the Sovereign, the Truth, there is no deity except Him," both children went still. In perfect unison, the last Djinn spoke. "We are defeated, not by Ruqyah, but by a child's faith. We cannot stand against such light. We leave, not by choice, but expelled by the very verses we thought we could mock." Both entities left like smoke sucked from a room. Day 40 arrived with dawn breaking over Lahore. All 8 children woke naturally, peacefully themselves. The change wasn't just in the children. The entire family structure had transformed. Homes once filled with tension felt peaceful. Marriages once strained found new strength. Children once distant from faith now asked to pray with parents. "The entities were right," Bilal said during the final gathering. "We were dangerous to them, not because we were perfect, but because we fought for faith together." Qari Ibrahim smiled, exhaustion showing. "You broke more than spiritual contracts. You broke generational patterns. Your children will grow up knowing faith isn't theory. It's living, fighting reality. Your grandchildren will inherit freedom, not chains." But he warned them. "The doors are closed now, but can be reopened. Every compromise on Tawheed, every amulet, every spiritual intermediary, you crack the door again. Eternal vigilance is the price of spiritual freedom." The families made a pact. No more taweez, no more shrine visits, no more consulting peers, only Allah, pure Tawheed. They started a family tradition. On the anniversary of their liberation, all gathered to recite Qur'an together and renew their commitment to pure Islamic practice. Zainab is now 12, a complete hafiza of the Qur'an. She shows no lingering effects except one gift. She can sense spiritual oppression in others. Last year, a classmate's mother asked to meet her after hearing the story. The woman's daughter was experiencing the same symptoms Zainab once had. Nightmares, voices, unexplained illnesses. "My mother-in-law took us to a pier," the woman confessed. "He gave my daughter a taweez. That's when everything started." Zainab looked at her mother. Amina nodded. They connected the family with Qari Ibrahim. Another 40-day battle began. Another family was freed. Word spread. Families from across Lahore, then other cities, reached out. People whose grandmothers had made desperate bargains. People wearing taweez they didn't understand. People bound by contracts they never knew existed. A quiet movement grew. Muslims returning to pure Tawheed, rejecting spiritual compromises, choosing to depend only on Allah. The Siddiqui family's trial had become a catalyst for spiritual awakening in their entire community. What happened to the Siddiqui family teaches us 3 critical truths. First, spiritual oppression is real, and it's often generational. The compromises our ancestors made, however well-intentioned, can create vulnerabilities in our bloodlines. We inherit not just DNA, but spiritual consequences. Second, unity in faith is the most powerful weapon against unseen enemies. The Djinn didn't fear individual prayers. They feared a family united under Tawheed, supporting each other, refusing to break. Third, pure Tawheed, absolute reliance on Allah alone, is non-negotiable. Every shortcut, every amulet, every spiritual intermediary is a crack in your armor. The Prophet warned us, whoever wears an amulet has committed shirk. Right now, examine your own life. Do you wear taweez just in case? Do you visit shrines asking the dead for help? Do you consult spiritual guides who promise solutions outside of Quran and Sunnah? Do you tie threads, hang amulets, perform rituals your grandmother taught you without questioning their Islamic validity? These might seem harmless, but they're doors, and every door you open is an invitation to entities who are patient, strategic, and very real. The Quran is clear, and your Lord says, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." 40:60. Not call upon saints, not call upon jinn, not call upon intermediaries, call upon Allah directly. If this story resonated with you, subscribe to this channel. We share stories of faith, spiritual warfare, and the reality of the unseen world that modern Muslims have forgotten. Leave a comment telling us which country you're watching from. Your engagement helps spread these crucial reminders. And most importantly, examine your home tonight. Are there objects that compromise Tawheed? Remove them. Are there practices that put your trust in something other than Allah? Abandon them. Are there doors your ancestors opened? Close them with tawbah and pure Islamic practice. Because the Djinn that came for the Siddiqui family aren't unique. They're everywhere, watching for cracks, waiting for invitations, patient as stone. The question is, have you invited them in without knowing it? May Allah protect us all from the whispers of shayateen, whether human or jinn. May He strengthen our Tawheed. May He make our homes fortresses of faith that no darkness can penetrate. Ameen.